Hey guys, it's Janie. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. It is time for crafting day. Alright guys, welcome back. Welcome new subscribers. Thank you all for your continued support. My next project is a custom order journal for a teenage girl, and we are going to make another cloth cover, and I thought doing a tutorial might be helpful for some. I've had several people ask me how I do my cloth covers for my journal, so I figured this would be a good way to do it. So I'm going to show you. I've already got everything cut, but I'm going to give you all the dimensions. So if you would like to follow along or have it for future use, then you can write down all the dimensions. So all my journals, most of my journals are 9x6, as you guys know that. So this one is also going to be a 9x6. So I like to have my covers also cushioned. So I use this felt. This is new felt though that I got, and this isn't the normal school felt. And this was a little bit harder to cut. This is a lot less expensive than going out and getting batting or whatever else you would use to cushion a cover. This is a cheaper route to go, so I like that. So anyway, we're going to start here with our chipboard. These pieces of chipboard, they come from a 12x12. And what you have to do is cut them down. So what I do is cut the height first, because if you cut your height first, you will get your strip for your spine, and you only will need one piece of 12x12 chipboard if you cut that correctly. I use the 50-point chipboard. You can use your cereal boxes or your cracker boxes or cardboard that you've got, whatever you feel comfortable using. I like the 50-point chipboard because it's really sturdy, and it also works great for writing boards and stuff as well. So you cut your height off first so that you get your spine piece. So we're going to cut height of 9. So you're going to get your chipboard lined up at 9 inches and cut it off. You take your biggest part, and that is going to get cut in half, and you're going to have 6 and 6 inches this way. So measure it out at 6 inches across. And then for your chipboard, depending on how big you want your spine, as a rule for myself, if I'm doing 2 signatures, it's going to be 2 inches. I like to give an inch per spine. That way they can spread and grow. But if you cut your height off first, off your chipboard, you're going to have a 12x3 inch piece of chipboard. Now if you want a 3-inch spine, that's fine. All you got to do is cut down to 9 inches for your height, and you'll be done. If you want a smaller spine like I did, I had to line it up 2 inches, and it gets a little bit more difficult because you have less space on any kind of cutter. So you got to hold down your guard really, really hard so that it doesn't slip when you're cutting. So I went with 2 inches on this. These are both 9 height, okay? This way, 9 height and 6 width. Okay, so once you get those cut, then I went to the felt, and I did the same thing with the felt. Now my felt was 10, I think it's 10 by 12 or 10 by 11. I'm not sure what it was. Let's see if I can kind of guess. I know they're 9. Yeah, they're 9 tall. And then I think they're like 11 this way. So mine are 9 by 12s. So still, I only had to cut it in half. And I didn't have to cut anything off of this way. I did have to use a different piece of felt to get my spine. So that's the only problem with that. So now you have everything. Your felt is all equal to your chipboard. For your fabric, here's my fabric. I already cut that out as well. And what you want to do is you want to lay out your pieces so you know where you want to cut it. So what I generally do is give it about 1 inch to 1.5 inches all the way around. because you want to have a little bit of space in between your spine and your cover also. So we're going to scoot that over a little bit. And then you just, you know, I just eyeball it. I just eyeball it and mark and tear where, you know, where I want it to be. And that usually works out. So I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I did the last time. So now we need to get our cover pieces put together. So that's where our Tyvek tape is going to come in handy. This is really great for doing covers, more so with cloth covers than if you're going to paint your covers, because I like to paint covers too, and this is not good to paint over. It just does not take paint. Now you can put like some modeling paste or something on it first, and that does help. Just put your modeling paste on, let it dry, and then paint, but it's tricky with paint. So anyway, we're going to take one of these right now, and I like to get a small piece of masking tape. Once I figure out where I want it lined up at and how much space I want. You don't want too much, but you want enough so that your cover will open and close easily. So then I take a little piece of masking tape. Doesn't have to be huge. And I really hate trying to tear it because I always tear it wrong. I'm just going to cut. Okay, we're going to put this at the top. And we're going to do another little piece at the bottom. And this really does help keep it in place while you're putting your Tyvek on. Because if your Tyvek tape goes on, it's on, guys. I'm just telling you. You can't peel that off without peeling off an inch of chipboard. Okay, so now we're going to turn this way. Oh, sorry about my dog, you guys. Hold on a second. Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're all back. We're back now. All right, let's get our tape undone here. What can you do when you have dogs? Ours are very mouthy. So we're going to cut a strip of this off. I don't care how much I cut off. Just enough for me to stretch it across there. And this stuff is super sticky. So we're going to just spread it across this first one like this. Okay. And we're going to flip it over and then just put these over the side. And so you can't do this when you're painting your cover, because then you're going to have these white edges and the paint just peels off of the Tyvek tape. It's just annoying. Okay, you're going to leave this side over now, and you're going to do the same thing on the inside. And we're going to cut that off. And now we're going to put this down right here. Oops, sorry if the camera shakes, you guys. Flip it over, secure those sides, and there you go. There's one side done, and then you can just bend it, make sure it's gonna open and close. Okay, so now we're going to put the other side on here. We're going to line this back up. I have a little hump in my table, so I gotta try and do that where it's not over that hump, because I just have a regular fold out table for in here. It's a nice big table though. You couldn't tell with all the stuff I have on it though. Okay, so we're gonna put that there. Okay. We're going to do another one, and that's going to go here at the bottom. Okay. We're done with the masking tape. Just going to get our Tyvek tape again. And Tyvek tape is a lot easier also. I got to find where. It's also easier to unpeel it than, like, say, packaging tape. Packaging tape is really hard to find the end and peel that off of there. So I don't worry too much with the Tyvek tape. Okay, we're going to lay that down here. Flip that over. Okay, and we got to do this side. I don't like when it rolls away. That does make it hard to find the end. So I just eyeball this too, you guys. I don't measure my tape or any of that stuff. I just put it on there and make sure it's even when I put it on, or even enough. It's not ever perfect. Okay. And there's that part. Both sides move well. Okay. We're done with our Tyvek tape. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, you can just, it doesn't really make a difference, but just figure out where you want your front covers to be. Now we're going to work on our felt. And I think I probably should have done my center one. Now these are not going to be perfectly even. There's going to be some runoff somewhere, but usually if it's not too much, then it'll just fold over with your fabric. So don't worry too much about how even it is, but make sure you glue these on past your crease here. You don't want it over top of that. That looks good there. And I'm going to probably have, I don't know, I might have to trim this down. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see how it works. So you do this part last and just measure these out by your folds here on your cover. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue them on and then trim them when they're on. So we're going to do one of these at a time. And we're going to use our Fabri-Tac, because Fabri-Tac is amazing. And this also will help hold your fabric in place when you're folding your sides up, because you're not going to put glue on the front cover to put your fabric over, because a lot of glue will just bleed through and then you'll have these ugly spots in your fabric. So the felt also helps, you know, in that area. It doesn't generally soak through too much on your felt. Make sure you get up there too. Okay. I know that's a lot of glue, but I want it to stay in place. So line up one of your edges at the bottom or the top, so you only have to trim one part. And when you put it down, make sure you're past that fold. Okay, and I am. And as you can see, I'm going to have a little bit here to trim. That edge is good. This edge should be all right, but this is a little bit too much, I think. I mean, I feel like it would fold over, but we're going to trim it anyway. We're just going to trim it off with scissors, because felt is very hard to cut. It is for me anyway. So we're just going to trim along this edge. There we go. Okay. So there's that one. Now we're going to do the other side. Remember, only glue up to that fold. You don't want to glue past that. Not quite yet. You will when you put your felt on the spine. And you don't even have to put the felt on the spine. I've done it without felt on the spine, because you know you're stitching through that and what have you. But you know, also you can do your hidden spines with this and not have to worry about it. So okay. We're going to line up again at the bottom part. Okay. I wanted to try this in my guillotine cutter because it cuts so good, but it just flopped down and didn't cut through the felt. So I had to cut it. I tried it with my wheel cutter and it just did not want to cut that with that either. So I ended up having to use scissors. I just drew my line and cut them in half. Okay. We're going to flip this over and we're going to trim this edge as well. Because you're going to have a little bit to trim off the edge because you don't go across the whole thing because you leave that fold. Okay, so there's our felt on the cover. And now we need to put our felt on here. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. And we're going to have to trim it off the top a little bit, I think. Okay. You gotta be careful too with the Tyvek tape. It doesn't always stay secured, so I like to have a little bit of cardboard there to kind of keep it in place while we're stitching or putting the fabric on or what have you. But this really helps as far as, you know, getting your fabric on, because the fabric does not slide against this felt. It usually stays pretty steady. That one I didn't put on quite very even, but there's a nice little gap right there, but that's all right. It's going to be covered anyway. So now we're going to take this and we're going to cut that excess. Let's just keep going here. We can do it here too. Oopsie. Wasn't going to, but I'm here. I might as well do it. Okay, so now our felt is on. So we are not going to put any more glue on here. We're only going to glue this on the inside. So there's that part. Okay, so now let's get a wipey. My glue is exploding out of my bottle. I really hate when that happens too. It means I have to unloosen my cap and let that just fall down in there so it doesn't keep bubbling out. Alright, let's move this over to the side for a second. And now for your fabric, you can iron it if you want to iron it. I don't generally iron them. It usually, you know, the folds and stuff, if you got the folded stuff, you'll have those fold lines. But generally I get it tight enough, and then over time it will, you know, fall out. But I also put images on the front as well, so it's not usually a problem. Okay. Here we go. Make sure your fabric is even on your table. And put your felt side down. And just line that up where you want to line that up. We're going to come this way a little bit. As you can see, it does not want to slide on the fabric. And it's a good thing once you get positioned. Okay. Does that look straight to you guys? Because it's looking straight to me, but I don't have like an overhead view of it. But I think that's good. Okay, now what I want to do different. Usually when you see people putting cloth covers on, they'll cut across the line here. So you know, fold up this side, fold up that side, whatever. But what I'm going to do is how I do if I use packaging paper. And I'm just going to fold the corners up and make sure they're even when they go up. And they're going to be glued like this. And we're going to try it like this time and see how it works. If it works as well as it does with paper. Let's see where we're going to be at on here. Okay, I'm going to find my pencil. Okay. And we're just going to draw where this is going. Okay, so this is where our glue is going, is in this square. It also will help you line your fabric up properly, because you don't have a perfect square. It's not going to line up as well. So we're going to do this, and you don't need to put a whole lot of glue on there, just enough to hold that in place. Okay, and we're going to turn it. It's very easy to turn, you guys, because this is not going anywhere against that felt. So I really like that idea. So again, make sure it looks as straight as possible. Don't be going like this where it's all crooked. You want it to be straight. Can you guys, well, you can't see that very well. This corner it tore weird. It tore weird. Okay. Let's put our glue in there. And line that back up to our lines. Okay. And also, just so you know, paper goes on the inside too, so none of these edges are going to be showing on the inside, as long as you put your papers down, or whatever you use to cover the inside covers. It's hard when you got frayed edges. Sorry if you guys can't see. My bottle is spurting out the top again. I hate when that happens. So we're going to have to loosen this cap again and let that just fall. Okay. And for the last one, tighten that back up. The other day I did that and glue everywhere. It was a mess. Okay, let's open it back up again. Okay, so there we go. We got our corners up. Now we're going to glue on the fabric right here, and you're going to glue across this edge and then do a little bit of a little zigzag, and do your long sides first. It's easier that way. But you don't need much Fabri-Tac to actually get this to adhere to your cover. Okay, so we're going to go here first, and then the rest kind of follows. And just pull it as tight as you can as the glue hits that chipboard. And we're going to have to put some glue underneath this so it sticks there, and underneath this so it sticks there as well. Okay. I like doing it that way so far. Okay, now we're going to turn it all the way around and get the other side before we do the ends. Okay. Make sure we get these. And that starts to hurt my hand. Gotta get a good grip on there. Okay. And here we go again. We're going to Get that folded up there tight. And it all just pretty much follows suit. It's not really hard to fold it. Just make sure you push it up as far as you can so that it's tight on the other side. And remember, if you're going to see glue spots, it's going to be covered with paper. The only part you're going to see is just edges of your fabric, so you don't got to worry about that. Okay, so now it's time to, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Yeah, I think you'll be able to see it all right. Barely in there, but you're going to just do the same thing. You're going to glue your edges. And then get this part glued as well. Okay. Fabri-Tac is my favorite as far as this goes. And you get nice corners here, I think. If this would have been probably shorter or less there, but it's all right. It's going to be covered anyway. Because I feel like there's more on these two cross sides than there was on here. Okay, we're going to turn it around now and get the last one. And look at that seeping again. It makes it difficult to glue when it is coming out like that. And I really hate when it happens. Okay, so we're going to glue again here. Now this one's got this crease right here, so I'm going to have to make sure I get that really good. I have to make sure it gets pulled really tight. Okay, so let's pull that really tight. And on these fabric covers, I almost always will use corners too. And I usually use corners because when I cut them, when I cut it across, there's always seems to be like a little puff of fabric that does not get tucked in properly. So that's why I wanted to try it this way and see how it worked. Okay, well, we've got it all glued. Let's give it a few minutes to dry. Okay, guys, we're back. And it seems to have worked really well. I really see how the lines are already starting to fade in the fabric. There's a little one right there. But yeah, I really like how that turned out. So I'm going to have to make sure I remember which way to do this because these birds are going upward. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind. It's not just a normal pattern. It does have... It's really kind of weird though because we got flowers that go downwards and birds that go upwards. It's weird. So I'm still going to make sure it's upright. So anyway... Now what I want to do is the corners, and I decided on the gold ones. So we're going to work on that, and that should wrap it up. So we're going to get some, I'm going to get my pliers out of here. They'll fit. I do recommend the spring-loaded pliers, you guys. They're so much easier to work with. Okay, so here we go. You guys know, I've stated it before, I've got a love-hate relationship with corners. So what I do now is I take my Fabri-Tac and I put glue inside my corners because that helps keep them where you want them to be when you're trying to squeeze them on. So we're going to put that on there and give it a good fit. Going to give it a good snug fit there. And we're going to be mashing it down. Wipe my glue bottle off again. I don't know why it's doing that so much right now, but it's doing it a lot. Okay, so I got this piece of fabric sitting here on my table. I'm going to use that to crimp this. We're just going to put it over top of our corner, and we're going to try and hold it as good as we can, and we're going to crimp. And we're going to try and get that on there. Okay, not bad, I guess. Let's go to the next one. The glue definitely helps, though. So now we're going to go to this one. And we're going to make sure that you get a secure fit. That'd be cool if that's all you had to do. I mean, I guess you probably could. But I find that the corners work better if you've got a padded cover. It gives it something to grab a hold of, actually. Okay, I think that's... Okay. Okay, well that one was a little bit easier. Okay. I don't want it to bunch the fabric up there. I think I probably need a smaller piece of fabric. That would be helpful. But that is what I have on hand right now, so that is what we're using. Okay. That one again was not really difficult to do. One more. Woohoo! My Sprite bottle is gurgling over here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's get this last one on. I always fuss with them too much. See, now when I don't fuss with them, they do better. Okay. Well, there's our corners on there, you guys. And our finished fabric covered journal cover. I think that turned out very well. We got a cushion cover and a cushion spine. The next thing you decide is what you're going to put on the inside, if you're going to sew through it, or if you're going to have a glued in spine, which I've really come to enjoy those, because then you don't have your, your thread showing here on the back. A lot of people like that. I don't. I'd rather have it, if I'm stitching through, then I'm going to cover it with something. But I have no idea what is going to go here on the cover yet, so that is always the last thing I make a decision on. But there you go, guys. There is the tutorial on doing a fabric covered journal cover. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me down in the comments, and I will do my best to answer all your questions. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.